Hi, my name is Jay. I have 3 European master's degrees in wine, Spanish, Italian, and French ones. I speak 8 different languages. I'm new to America, living in California, working in wine business with my wine father, Peter. Today, we go to Costco and I'm gonna buy 4 best Costco wines under $20. So this is Costco at Fountain Valley. Costco has a total of roughly 700 warehouses in the world. Costco requires a membership subscription costing $60 to $120 annually in the US. A Costco membership also allows you to shop at international stores if you present your card. The advantages of shopping for wine at Costco are price and quality. A disadvantage is their relatively limited number of wines compared to many other retailers. I tried to select the top 4 best Costco wines, the criteria being well-known brands and very affordable prices. Wines that our viewers will find at all or most Costco locations. I selected Chateau Saint Michel Merlot as my first choice. This is a very large producer with a very good quality control. And then a bottle of Sancerre Sauvignon Blanc from France's Loire Valley for consumers looking for more delicacy and elegance. I've liked this Monsanto Chianti Classico Riserva for a long time. And then a bottle of a very affordable entry-level Chardonnay Chloé. So this is it. The top 4 best Costco wines chosen according to my criteria. Now it's time to taste with Peter to evaluate them together. Peter has been a master of wine, one of the rarest professional wine titles in the world for 27 years. And he also is the reason why I came to America. If you have many bottles in your Costco cart, it is more convenient to grab an empty wine box to carry them. If one is not immediately to hand, any employee can help you. Peter, I went to Costco today.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and bought top 4 best Costco wines.
Okay.
And we taste them together.
Okay.
And you tell me what you think.
All right. That sounds like fun.
Because you're my wine father.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I selected the top 4 best Costco wines. So 2 whites,
Okay.
2 reds, and for 2 whites, I selected the most famous grape varieties.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
because people love Sauvignon Blanc or Chardonnay.
Okay.
I think those 2 grape varieties are very, very important.
All right. So those are what you selected, a Chardonnay and a Sauvignon Blanc. Okay.
Yeah. And for reds, I selected 2 different types of grape varieties.
Okay.
So one is with a fuller body,
Okay.
and the other one must be a little bit more delicate
Okay.
and lighter.
And what were those?
One is Merlot,
Merlot.
And
That's
the
a
other
crowd
one-
pleaser. Yeah.
and the other one is Sangiovese.
Sangiovese.
Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't intentionally select Cabernet Sauvignon because there are too many Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's much easier to get that kind of information to select Cabernet Sauvignon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Besides which, Merlot is a crowd pleaser.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody loves Merlot, even though it's not always fashionable to say you do.
Mm-hmm. Why isn't it fashionable to say you?
Merlot is so fruity
Mm-hmm.
and so delicious when done properly. It started with the movie Sideways,
Mm-hmm.
where the guy absolutely disparages Merlot. It's sort of not quite cool again to say, I'm drinking Merlot. Notwithstanding one of the world's most expensive wines, mainly Chateau Petrus, Chateau Petrus is 100% Merlot. But
I
anyway.
didn't have enough money to buy that.
Oh, you didn't buy Chateau Petrus? No. You know what, Jay? I don't know why I'm wasting my time here.
It can be a little bit similar to Chateau Petrus.
Oh, okay, a little bit similar. Whatever that means.
Because we do it blind.
Oh, okay, all right. Well, at least I know now not to call it Chateau Petrus. You've already told me that it's not.
It can be called Le Petit Chateau Petrus.
Probably not. Probably not. The idea here is not blind tasting. The idea is just to check authenticity. Obviously, we already know one of these is a Sauvignon Blanc. One of them is a Chardonnay. Can I easily pick up a Sauvignon Blanc and a Chardonnay here? Because why call a wine by its grape variety, if it's called by the grape variety, if it doesn't taste of that grape variety? Okay. First wine is very obviously a New World, oaky, somewhat buttery Chardonnay. This is a real crowd pleaser. It's what we have taught American consumers that Chardonnay should taste like. And, you know, it's everything. It's the barrel, it's the malolactic fermentation, it's everything that's there. It's what we have been taught to love. And it's a good example of that. It's a good example of the genre. I would say that overall, a very satisfactory wine. I don't know how much it costs, except for the fact that alcohol's a bit high. But a very nice one. Chloe.
Yeah.
Sonoma County, California, 2016. And how much is that wine?
$9.99.
Yeah. That's a really, that bottle delivers for $9.99. So then obviously this is Sauvignon Blanc. The second wine, it does have some leanness and elegance that I associate with Sauvignon Blanc. This does not seem to be a Californian wine, because Californian Sauvignon Blanc is typically the characteristic of melons and figs.
Melons and figs.
Melons and figs. This is a different style of Sauvignon Blanc. This is more gravelly, leaner, higher acidity. So I think this is a European wine, probably French.
Very correct.
So this is Sancerre. It does not say Sauvignon Blanc, but Sancerre, this is going to be 100% of Sauvignon Blanc. And how much was that?
It was $14.99.
$14.99. Sancerre is never going to be cheap. It's good value for $14.99. I'm guessing you pretty much can't buy Sancerre for much less than that.
I don't think so.
Were there a lot to choose from in Costco?
No, there was only one Sancerre.
This was the one?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the best Sancerre from Costco, at least on this day.
This was the purest Sauvignon Blanc at Costco.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
To be able to get into a good bottle of Sancerre for $14.99, it's a good deal.
Yeah. And I slightly prefer that Sancerre Sauvignon Blanc to New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, because I can drink a whole bottle without that much food. This is Sancerre. In my case, to drink a whole bottle of New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc, I need some salad.
I'm not sure we should be advocating drinking the whole bottle here. Perhaps from that perspective, you should buy a New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc. Well, so far, Jay, between you and Costco, you've done well. What's next?
Let's go to reds.
Okay.
And I selected the first one for crowd pleasure.
No. And
the second one for more delicate consumers.
No, the first one is, it is a crowd pleaser. And it's not a mistake. That's not somebody not knowing what they were doing. The people who made this wine really knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
$9.99? Okay, so here we have the two wines. We already know one is Sangiovese and one is Merlot. Not again because this is a parlor game, but because Sangiovese should taste like Sangiovese and Merlot should taste like Merlot. Otherwise, why call them by those names? The wine on my left is Sangiovese, and the wine on my right is Merlot. And again, I believe what you've done here is you've chosen two wines from different parts of the world, the Sangiovese being not a domestic wine, and the Merlot being a domestic Merlot, or at least a New World Merlot. Okay, so let's quickly assess quality.
Yeah.
It smells very much like Sangiovese. It's got some earth, but also a character that's like iodine, like that sort of that ozone character you sometimes get when walking on the beach, or the seaweed character when you're walking on the beach. Yeah. So this is a very nice Sangiovese. It is quite tannic. How much does it cost?
This is $17.99.
And what is it? It's
Chianti
Monsanto.
Classico
Okay,
Monsanto.
so it's that's actually a Sangiovese Classico Riserva. This is also a very credible wine because it comes from the very difficult, at least in Tuscany, 2014 vintage.
Yeah. And
So-
that was the reason why I wanted to try this wine with you, because it's from a very difficult vintage. And I know you usually don't like the greenness from the vintage 2014. This was the only Chianti Classico category wine that I could find without the label Kirkland, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Kirkland wine, I think it's good, but for me the problem is that you don't know where it's exactly from which winery.
Now, sometimes you might be able to tell that if they've got it on the cork, or if there's something there which says produced by so and so, you know, or something you could. But yes, you have to do some sleuthing to figure out where it comes from. Then the next wine is very obviously your New World crowd pleaser Merlot. It's got the deep color, so it's a young wine. It smells fruity, raspberry, cherry, fruit,
And quite some oak too.
and oak, raspberry cola, and oak. Lots of oak on the nose. How much does that wine cost?
$12.99.
Yeah, again, you know, you really can't go wrong on that wine for $12.99. It's got the fruit, the wood is pretty strong all the way through and on the palate. If it finishes a little bit short, yeah, perhaps because of the wood, it's got acceptable, more than acceptable, balanced acidity, some astringency at the back. It's a very successful bottle of wine.
It's a Chateau Saint Michel.
And it comes from a very, very good producer. Yeah. I think I agree with you, Jay. I think for $12.99, I'm not sure if you could find better.
I tried to look for some balance. So for whites, one crowd pleasure, and the other for knowledgeable wine people, and for the red, the same.
I think you've done a very good job. I think I would be hard pushed to find a Merlot made to this formula, because this is a wine made with a specific audience in mind, and excellently executed. So yeah, well done.
Thank you.
Well, it's really got that even with all the oak and everything, that Merlot character comes through.
I love Chateau Saint Michel's Riesling.
Yeah. No, Washington State makes great Merlot, amongst other things, and also great Riesling.
Yeah, but I couldn't put two Chateau Saint Michel's wine for top four best.
Not sure why, if they were that, but yeah. No, it's a very, very reliable label. A very high quality operation.
That was top 4 best Costco wines.
Based on Jay's selection criteria to start with, and then a tasting of the wine to confirm his previous winnowing down by tastings, and also by wanting to select wines for crowd pleaser and for slightly more educated palate or slightly more elegant, people that seek slightly more elegance, and also probing, in the case, for example, of the 2 European wines, probing in some ways the depth of Costco's selection.
I really hoped any of this wine would be seriously criticized or denied by you.
I got to be fair. I got to be fair and honest. So no, they are what they are, and
Relieved.
properly done. Properly done.
이럴땐이와인 네이버밴드로 놀러 오시면 와인을 잘 몰라도 편하고 싸게 살 수 있는 정보가 많이 올라와 있습니다. 가입하는 게 싫으시면 greatwine2u.co.kr로 꼭 놀러 오세요.